Right, so let's now create the first Python file for this project. We're going to call it lists_intro.py. In Python, a list is enclosed in square brackets. Back in the previous section, we saw a slide with a list of computer parts. So let's type that in again. So computer_parts is equal to left to right square brackets. Then in double quotes, each item, so it could be computer in the first one in double quotes, comma, monitor in double quotes, comma, keyboard in double quotes with a comma, then mouse in double quotes with a comma, and then finally mouse mat in double quotes, and then we've got the right square bracket as well. Now you'll often see list literals, which these are split up so that each item is on a new line. I'll be talking about this later when we've got a more complex list. For now, what I'm going to do is press enter after each of the commas to split the list up. And also the last right square bracket, I'll put onto a separate line as well. All right, so that's a very simple list. So computer_parts is a list of strings here, the names of some common computer parts for a computer. I mentioned previously that square brackets are used in 3 places in Python, and this is the third use. We've seen previously them used to index a sequence and for slices. They're also used to create lists as we're doing here. So inside the square brackets, we've got the items in the list separated by commas. All right, so that's a very simple list, but because it is a sequence type, we can iterate over it using a for loop. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to type for part in computer_parts colon, the next line indented print parentheses part. Run the program, and you can see we've got each item of our list displayed in the output pane. So we can refer to individual items in the list using their index position as well. It works exactly the same as we've seen with strings. The third item in the list is keyboard, so that's at index position 2, remembering that indexing starts at 0. So let's have a look at that. Print left to right parentheses here to make a space between lines, and then the next line print computer_parts left square bracket 2 right square bracket and right parentheses. So if we run that, you can see we get the keyword or the word keyboard printed out. Now you can also slice a list, and that works exactly the same as we've seen for strings. What I'll do is print out a couple of examples to revise what we've already done. So print parentheses computer_parts left square bracket 0:3 right square bracket then right parentheses, and line 15 print parentheses computer_parts left parentheses -1. Then we've got our right square bracket and right parentheses. So if we run the program now, you can see that the first slice, that's the code there on line 14, that's produced the first 3 items from the list, in this case computer, monitor and keyboard. Note that the output here is in square brackets, and that indicates that slicing a list produces another list. Now line 15 is a Python idiom and returns the last item in the sequence, the last item in the list in this case, which was mouse mat. And we can confirm that by looking at our setup on line 1. Alright, so that's all been revisioned so far. It's not surprising that indexing and slicing works the same with the list as it did with the string, and that's because they're both sequence types. But there's one big difference between strings and lists. Strings are immutable, which means they can't be changed. Lists, on the other hand, are mutable. In other words, you can change the contents of a list. I'll explain those terms in more detail in the next 2 videos, and then we'll look at ways to change a list's contents. See you in the next video.